On today's show, feel the rush of the flush.
Holy cow, look at them all go.
We head to the birdiest of pheasant fields.
Attaboy!
Check out the latest outdoor fashion.
You can really see the detail in each feather, and everyone is unique.
And we take a walk in a remote Minnesota park.
People who visit this park love to talk about the bison.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers.
Hi everybody, Bill and I welcome you to Minnesota Bound.
Up first today, Ron Shera has the truck packed for a ringneck road trip adventure.
When the late season weather here in Minnesota goes south, bird hunters do the same.
If you ever want to feel free to roam, Kansas is the place. Wide open spaces with a vast horizon. Where today, amid a sea of grasslands, ringneck pheasants are on the wing.
Holy cow, look at them all go.
On the wing? Uh-oh. 3 Minnesota wing shooters are headed afield and about to make trouble for a few Kansas ringnecks.
All right, my friend.
I pack a lot of shells because I miss so often.
Well, here goes a lady's adventure.
Shoot no birds on the ground, we all know that, right?
We all know that.
Okay, be careful.
Dads will be dads.
So, I'll shoot first.
Ladies first, Dad, come on.
We're gonna hit some Milo over here first, and we're gonna do all the hunting in the trees.
My friend Scott Carlson is our generous landowner host.
Well, it's just great to be in the field with gals and see more women getting into hunting and enjoying the outdoors, and we're starting to see a lot more women come into hunting.
Come on.
Enough jawing. It was time to start some serious bird busting.
Are you staying in the middle, Simone? Not going over here?
Simone's yellow lab, Ryder, craves the bird hunting game.
Hunt him up, Ryder. Hunt him up.
I think there's one up here running. There he goes. I knew he was running.
Here, Ryder. Over.
Suddenly, another wing in the air.
Oh. Nice job. Woohoo! Hounded.
Attaboy.
Let's see. Ooh, that's a nice one.
Isn't he beautiful?
Sure is.
Just love the colors.
It was Tina's turn to show off her shooting eye for her lab, Sassy.
Nice shot. Come on. Good boy. That's a good boy. Nice job. All right, come on. You know what? I was pleasantly surprised. I really was. Come on. We got out here and had immediately within our first sorghum field, had shots fired, and it's been pretty steady.
This is my first time hunting in Kansas, and I have to say that the experience so far has been a great one. We've seen a lot of birds, we've shot a lot of birds. No matter where you are, just watching the dogs work is always a good time.
And today, what I love about pheasant hunting is being with 2 daughters and their friend and watching as they discover the joy of ringnecks on the wing and retrievers in the field. As a proud dad might say, it doesn't get any better.
There's partridge, peacock, pheasant, turkey.
Coming up next, we make a fashion statement perfect for the fall season.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers. Rapala Ice Force. Star Bank. And by Chase on the Lake.
Welcome back to the show. Pheasants and fashion are often not words heard together. That is, until now. We meet Lynda Larson, who is styling up the hunting world. When you think of bird hunting and fashion, blaze orange and khaki brush pants are the first to come to mind. Normally, the worlds of hunting and style are light years apart. That is, until now.
These are all of our feather bow ties that I make.
Meet Lynda Larson, the designer and artist who has a fetish for feathers.
There's partridge, peacock, pheasant, turkey.
Wow.
So a lot of different types of feathers. Like this is a silver pheasant. A lot of people don't know there's so many different pheasants.
Partridge, peacock, pheasants, oh my. That got me wondering, but why?
I've been a floral designer, and we often use feathers in our floral design and in corsages and boutonniere work. So I thought, why can't we have something that we can wear more often and incorporate feathers with it? So I thought, I'm going to start making some bow ties. So these feathers I've cleaned and I've stripped of all of the silky plumage. I have glue. It's my own combination.
As Lynda's love of creative design flourished, so did her appreciation for upland birds.
You can really see the detail in each feather, and they're just, everyone is unique. So no two ties turn out the same. And it's really kind of fun to see how they differ. Sure. You know, I can try and duplicate it, but they're never the same. So that's kind of the cool part of it.
When design is unique, it doesn't take long for hunters to take notice.
Well, I just did the Pheasant Fest, and I've gotten a few requests from that show.
It just seems like people really like it, and she's getting a lot of reviews about it.
Hunters have long respected the beauty of the birds they harvest, and now they have discovered a way to savor their hunting memory.
Sometimes it's a special hunt for them, or maybe their dog did an amazing job, and so they want to keep that bird and preserve it and maybe make something that they can show their success with. So I have had some hunters commission me to make bow ties for them. Right now I'm working on some bow ties for the Grouse Association.
Just like any other wildlife artist, it takes time and patience to create a masterpiece.
Some of them take a couple hours, some take 4 hours. So it really depends on how many feathers and how many layers of feathers I need to put on that bow tie.
In true artist form, the same amount of creative thought goes into each name.
When I'm making them, I kind of dream up a name for them, something that I think fits them. Charles, up on top there, that's partridge feathers. The next one, Harvest, that is done with pheasant feathers and turkey. And this is actually a golden pheasant. These stripes, the orange and red stripes, are from a golden pheasant.
And Blue Eyes, of course.
Blue Eyes, I kind of named him Blue Eyes after, I'm sure you can guess who.
Mr. Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, that's right. And I think he's kind of got that crooner look. He's kind of flashy.
Old Blue Eyes was known for crooning in his bow ties, so maybe he's responsible for the latest gentleman craze.
This is the last step. People are wearing them to work. There are people that are using them for weddings, wedding ceremonies, special events, and now, because bow ties are becoming so trendy again, a lot of the younger guys wear them just, you know, to the brewery or, you know, with jeans and a denim shirt.
As they say, life imitates art, and Lynda's creations would forever connect her to the hunting world via her very own bird dog. Her chocolate lab Hunter recently passed away, and in his honor, Lynda designed a special tie where proceeds go back to Pheasants Forever, ensuring feathers are flying and bow ties are tying, giving hunters a lesson in style for years to come.
It's nice to see a guy that has a little piece of fashion on them that gives them just a little edge, you know, a little different than everybody else.
Fashion and pheasants, two words that will forever belong together.
I can tell people like it. You can see a lot of people looking at them, and occasionally someone will say nice tie, but you can see eyes being drawn to them.
They're really surprised at how big they are.
Still ahead, a state park home to Minnesota's bison, and later, an ode to our favorite season of the year.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Husqvarna.
It's time to take a walk in the park, this time to far southwestern Minnesota, where the prairie grass waves and the bison roam.
Walk in the Park is brought to you by the Minnesota Zoo, connecting people to animals and nature to help save wildlife around the world.
People who visit this park love to talk about the bison, especially after they've seen them. They're really surprised at how big they are, how many there is in the park. The park opened in the late 30s after the WPA created 2 lake impoundments at the park here. Blue Mounds got its name when the settlers were traveling west. They saw the cliff with lichen on it and they looked blue to the settlers and they called it Blue Mound. The fall is a good time to visit for hiking the 12.5 miles of hiking trail. It's a little bit cooler on top of the prairie. The temperatures are a little bit more acceptable. We also have a bike trail that travels 6 miles into the city of Laverne. People come to Blue Mountain State Park, number one, to see our bison herd. It's a unique herd in the terms of that it's 100% pure genetics. There's no cattle genes found in our bison herd here at Blue Mountain State Park. Yeah, bison are part of the prairie landscape and they affect the ecosystem in a positive way. And they are able to move through that 534 acres as a group. They graze as a group, they never separate, they like to be with each other. The lifespan of a bison is probably in captivity close to 20-some years. We do have a female cow, which we call Puddin', is 24 years old, and she will end up living and dying here on this prairie landscape. I think people love to see the bison because it reminds them of the stories they've heard about having hundreds of thousands of bison on the American plains, including the northern central plains here in Minnesota. The historic quarry is neat for the public because they can walk up into the quarry. It has 90-foot walls shaped in a horseshoe.
Hold on to the rock, not the rope. Stand up. Yep. Keep going.
There's a lot of rock climbing that goes on here. There's 1.5 miles of cliff line, and along that 1.5 miles, there's designated 4 good areas for rock climbers to climb.
This is Jasper's dihedral. It's a 5.8 but 3 stars out of 4, meaning that it's just it's fun to do. There are lots of good handholds, good foot placement. A little bit of a challenge when you get up near there. Oh, you've got that big long reach.
The climbs are fairly technical and they're a challenge to the climbers in the area, and we get climbers all the way from Omaha, Fargo, the Twin Cities that come here just because they want to climb the Blue Mounds cliff line.
Want to look around again, enjoy the view. Once again, you just flew up that.
The cliff line is a great place for rock climbers to climb in the park, and we usually get about 1,000 climbers a year.
Blue Mounds State Park is a beautiful place to come. You can experience it in all 4 seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter.
Straight ahead, today's Minnesota Bound Classic honors our favorite season.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Radco Truck Accessories, Connecticut, and by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Today's Minnesota Bound Classic takes us back to our favorite time of year.
Ron Shera takes a moment to reflect with his Ode to Autumn.
Of all the 4 seasons, autumn in Minnesota promises the most drama and delivers the loudest punchlines. For these migrating geese, the sky's the stage, we earthlings the audience. Carl Sandburg, the poet, once said of autumn, "I cried over beautiful things, knowing no beautiful thing lasts." So it is, even the most gorgeous leaves along Minnesota's Gunflint Trail are destined to die and fall to earth. Almost everything comes to an end in autumn. Warm summer days of fishing, summer flowers too. They pass away like dear old friends. Conservationist and hunter Aldo Leopold once wrote that all living things bring their unique contribution to the circle of life, and the key is to respect each. That's especially true in autumn. It's the season of harvest for pumpkins and apples and rows of corn. For Minnesota hunters, the cooling air of autumn signals the start of nature's harvest, from wild birds to wild deer.
No matter how many times you've grouse hunted or bird hunted, when you get a flush, it's probably the most exciting thing there is about hunting. Well, what really attracts me to grouse hunting is it's kind of a solitary sport. It's great with just myself and my dog.
Here's to you, old white-tailed deer. You are as awesome in the woods as the gaudy ringneck is on the prairie.
The pheasant is arrogant, it's brash, it laughs at you, and it challenges you to come out and get me. Come out and get me.
For Minnesota's many anglers, this is a time as magical as spring. The big uns bite come autumn.
I don't know how good he's hooked.
Longfellow wrote, "The laws of nature are just, but terrible." Yet we really can't find much fault with autumn, at least not in Minnesota, where our cool springs often renege on warm promises. But autumn always tends to deliver what we've come to expect. The changing seasons, it's been said, is a much happier state than to be hopelessly in love with spring. So let us be fond of autumn. The only trouble is, much to our chagrin, the next one is winter.
What a great time of year.
It's always my favorite, not just to hunt, but to also spend time outdoors and hang out in the woods.
Yeah, I get it. Well, that about does it for us. Be sure to drop us a note and let us know how we're doing.
On our Facebook page or on the Minnesota Bound website.
And in the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.